for me particularly, who's observed your journey for many number of years now, is that you've gone public, and you've gone public at a time when, you know, uh, some other e-commerce companies had gone public, and there was, a lot of noise about whether D2C companies should go public or e-commerce companies should go public, not go public, but you still decided to take a plunge onto it. So particularly now that you're a public organization, what do you think has changed for you, whether it's in terms of the work or the organization, or even at the point of how you make your investment decisions?
That's a long and heavy question. But firstly, thank you so much for having us over here. And it's a lovely crowd. And thank you for putting
And you
us
look beautiful too, both of
on
you.
that
So
cover. And you made us look good. And I think the decision of going public is a very internal decision. And, it's not a decision which one should take looking at how what others are doing, right? How externally market or environments, etc., are changing. And you have to. It's like growing up, right? In anyone's journey, and sort of it's a milestone of graduation once you get to a certain level. And internally, we were very confident that the way we had shaped the business, what we knew about our strengths within the business, and the fact that we were not doing this because we were desperate for capital. We in fact were sitting on strong capital reserves, and we were profitable and generating cash. And hence, for us, this was a milestone which opens up opportunities to partner with long-term public market investors, right, as we had partnered with private investors in the past. And knowing that internally you're ready, right, I think externalities were just a matter of time, right? I mean, today, 12 months back, something wasn't that great. Today, it is amazing, right? 12 months back, again, it won't be great, right? But this is not a decision which you can, go on great times, and then once things are not well, you can't take it back and say, oh, now it's it is a milestone which comes to you, and you should be feeling confident about your own company being in the right space, be it from a perspective of from a consistency, right? The predictability of your business, right? From a perspective of the teams that you have built, right? From a perspective of governance and high quality processes that you have, right? All of them leading to a quality, predictable business where, as management and as founders, right, you can clearly show a path, right, and continuously deliver to that path over the journey, right? So if you're confident of that, right, that's a great time to get in there. Right? And the second question that you asked, what has changed? And honestly, it's only been 5 months, right? And if you are as a company, right, if you're not clear about the fact that for 8 to 10 quarters you will not need to change anything, then you don't have the right to sort of go public, right? You should only go to the public markets when you have a very strong set, right, 8 to 10 quarters plan, and you can clearly stick to it and deliver that. So I think nothing has changed, right? What we imagined and what we had foreseen, how things will shape, we continue to shape that. Right? And from a perspective of delivery, we want to be a very boring company which continues to deliver just like that same standard disproportionate growth every quarter, right? So I mean, we don't want to be exciting in that sense, right? So I think that's what I would say.
And Ghazal, for you, I know you've always been very involved in the product creation process, right from day one. You've always had your keen eye on that. So now that you are a house of brands, you've got several brands under your portfolio. So how do you sort of keep on? We're always about passion first, and that's where your passion was. So how you sort of keep up to that passion? How do you? And I mean, you have so many product lines, new brand launches, and so on. So how do you still sort of keep yourself involved there?
So, Ritu, you're absolutely right. I think when I started out, one thing that I was not ready to give up on as the team grew was product development, innovation, R&D, and quality. That still continues to be with me. Uh, I think what fuels that passion for building is having so many brands and being able to do far more than just being limited to one proposition through one brand. Innovation for us starts consumer first. So the good thing is when it's consumer first, there is so much information being thrown at you by the consumers that keeps the cycle of innovation to life. Today we have access to all kinds of digital platforms. We have access to not just the content or the products available in India, but outside of India. We know what kind of skin, what kind of products, etc., are aspirational. Now, when India has aspirations like that, there needs to be a company which is keeping those aspirations in mind, is crafting products for Indian skin and Indian weather. Because not everything that's made in countries outside is suitable to Indian skin. That still continues to stay at the core of our company across different brands that we have built. That said, we've also realized that consumers use different kinds of propositions at different instances. You would want to color your hair sometime, and hence you want a hair color. You're stepping out, you need a lipstick that stays. You're taking care of your skin, you need a face wash that's mild, natural, but you also need a serum which can take care of your skin concerns like acne pigmentation. And for us, we are able to deliver each of these propositions through different brands like MAMAEARTH, Dermaco, Be Blunt, Dr. Sheth, etc. So that's the most exciting part of it. Now we've also invested and built our own internal R&D. We are very proud that huge percentage of formulations are being developed in-house. All of these formulations go through blind testing. The blind testing is a process which ensures that whatever we are testing is actually the best formulation available in the market, because we also test it against competitions. So like some of this is what keeps the passion alive, what keeps that hunger alive. And we are going to continue further strengthening that as we move forward.
No, I think, you always stay true to the core, as they say. I also see that in the organization, you're doing everything together. And honestly, I always admire entrepreneurs who are able to sort of pull it off. So you just started a new cosmetic line, a new cosmetic brand. And at the same time, you've also built the Dermaco to become now a 500 CR brand. So, how are you sort of trying to keep this entire pool of energy together to do a startup and to build a corporation, and then the corporation goes public? So,
yeah. No, so I think what we always say is that you should keep your goals on the top, right? And change and design your circumstances to meet your goals, right? And as founders, I think that's the whole sort of dreaming and bringing new energy and thinking about newer creation is something that we bring to the table. But as executives in that same company, and where we do our roles, I think our job is to build an organization, right, which is designed to fulfill those goals, right? Where there are functions which work like and manage and service the larger brands like MAMAEARTH and Dermaco, right? Where the kind of skills needed, the kind of sales, distribution, marketing playbooks needed are very different, right? And actually, there is a separate organization within our organization, right? Which is called Brand Factory, which is a holistic organization, right? Although it's small, but it has all kind of functions, right? Which actually serves and builds 0 to 1 journeys for brands, right? And the culture within both and the milestones at which these two organizations are rewarded, recognized, are actually very different from each other, right? So I think what we have clearly figured is that we have a certain goal to achieve, and we take pride in the fact that we are brand builders, right? And very few larger organizations have been able to do the job of brand building in the past. And we want to build that organization which continues to build brands for Indian consumers, because there is still a lot of space to do that, right? But to do that, we need to have an organization, like you rightly said, right, which can service both the 0 to 1 and the 100 to 1000 journeys, and actually have the culture, right, where both of those get rewarded. So I think we've been focusing on building the right structures which can serve the vision that we have.
No, absolutely. And I think to be able to do that as an organization is really the key, because it starts becoming tougher because, there's just so much on your platter at any point of time. One of the questions I've actually been asked, and I mean, there are quite a few of us here. We'll come to your question. So is that, should a D2C brand really go omni-channel? I mean, opening stores. Now you've got 100 MAMAEARTH stores already, and you're probably planning to open new stores for your other brands also. So at what point of time in the journey did you decide that you'll not just be digital brand, but also a physical brand which was available in stores? And, how did you decide to then sort of build that journey of 100 stores?
So Ritu, like I said, for us in our company, everything starts consumer first. See, digital D2C is a great way to get early traction from consumers, to get your product market fit going, to understand where is the audience available, who exactly is your audience to begin with, which is very difficult to get if you start offline first. But then as your brand scales, one thing that we should also keep in mind is that your consumers also evolve with time and the set becomes slightly different. So early majority consumers come to your D2C platform to buy from you. Whereas, and as you move, as the brand goes bigger, if the demand for your product start coming for offline channels, which is where consumers are asking for the brand, then it makes a lot of sense for you to go offline as well and have an omni-channel play. So just one clear philosophy, that be where your consumer wants you to be. If you go by that process, you start digital first, then you keep looking at what are the early signs that you're getting from your consumers, because offline, till the time you don't have very strong demand, is a very difficult channel to crack. For the first time, you can go out there, you can fill in the stores with your products, but if the demand doesn't exist, it also comes back and hits you very badly. And that channel is very, very complex. So ensure that before you take that decision, you have a very strong demand for your products and awareness around your products for consumers to be able to see your product on the shelf and understand what is it that we are trying to communicate, because they have already read about your brand, seen your products, they understand the philosophy, because you can't educate the consumer offline the way you can do digitally. So for us, I think that's the journey that we have taken across all of our brands. MAMAEARTH went offline when we were about 350 to 400 crores. That's when we started getting that demand from the offline channel, and we decided to expand. Dermaco, for that matter, also will now, it is still a 98% online brand, will now start exploring the channels because we already see demand coming in from the consumers.
And do you see the opportunity as opening exclusive stores or just going into a general distribution setup?
No, I think we, of course, took the distribution route first. Right? See, it is again the same analogy that you would give in the online world on should you be selling on Amazon or a Nykaa first, or should you be doing your own D2C website, right? The answer is that if it's not about, or it's actually about and, right? You would need to do both, right? One is a great, which is D2C, is a great way to get more information, more consumer profiling, being able to bring your brand to life in terms of differential experiences, being able to see what kind of campaigns, what kind of messaging, what kind of audience sets work for you in terms of your advertising. And second is a place where there is already demand for the category. Consumers are stepping in, right? And you just need to be sort of present and show them that you're also available, right? And get them to buy, right? Similarly, in the offline world, right, the distributed retail, right, which could be your modern trade or your general trade, right, is a place where you already have footfall. But that's not a place, like Ghazal said, where you have the right to win if the consumer is absolutely unaware, especially in categories like BPC, and on why they should buy your brand. Right? While on the other hand, in an exclusive store setup, right, you can bring a lot more of your experience to life. Education can be brought to life, right? And hence, but the cost of that is far higher in terms of investment. Right? Being in distributed trade, right, the fixed cost of especially being present is lower. Right? So I think it's a tightrope walk. Right? What kind of categories are you in? Right? How much education is required? Right? Do you already have a distributed trade category presence where there are large chains or stores which sell you? Right? Can you start there? Right? With some basic education and assortment, which can give you signals that your brand will actually sell well in the physical world and there is demand, right? And basis that, build confidence to then go exclusive route also. I think that's how I would recommend people take it.
Sure. Also a question on the other side. As a shark, you've invested in a lot of startups. So now, do you still continue to do that? Wherein you look at some startups you find interesting, or which are either product based or let's say a technology or a service based?
No, I think we were doing it way before Shark Tank as well, right? I think our angel journey started probably way back in 2020. Right? Between the two of us, we are invested now in more than 100 companies. Right? It's been a way to give back, right? And it's across. There are a few specific hypotheses that we have around sectors that will do well, apart from, for example, D2C, right? So we're invested in multi sector places, and we continue to do so. Right?
I think that's great. I'll love to we'll take some questions from the audience. We've got a lot of hands up. So please, if you can pass on the mic over here. So you've got some exits also from those bucket of 100?
Oh, it's sort of very early. We've got opportunities, right? A couple of exits also, right? But opportunities a lot of times, right? But we continue to hold, right? Because it's not like we need it. We would rather see these companies become much larger.
Absolutely.
Hi, pleasure to listen to you. This is Ketan from Telocity. Wanted to know your digital customer, employee hiring experience. How do you do that? Is there any digital there, especially with your senior leadership coming from hiring tech as well?
So in terms of there are parts of it, right, which have become digital, right, but we still continue to be a very touchy-feely organization, so to say. Right? We're a culture which believes in meeting each other, we're a culture which believes in the energy that you absorb from the room and from people that you meet. Right? So while parts of the funnel, which is right discovery, right early testing, are digital, but other parts of the funnel continue to remain physical, because that's something which works for us.
Yeah, because your brand is such, one application, one job opening can give you 500, 1,000 applications. So
We love that. We continue to love those entries.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Chandan and I'm from Ahmedabad. So the question is, usually when a startup becomes successful, they can go back and trace the story that we did this. But I came across a pitch deck of yours on LinkedIn, which was 2016. And you predicted certain things, that 100 crore turnover in 5 years and, becoming $1 billion company in 10 years. So I just wanted to understand one thing. What was going in 2016 in your mind, which gave you the figure that we'll become a $1 billion company like that? So I am really, inspired by that. So yeah. Thank you.
No, trust me. Wo slide finally, we had to have a couple of drinks to make that slide. What? We hadn't even started selling a single unit of product. And it was 100 crores, $1 billion. What crap is this? But you still need that grand vision of how large can it be and what are you building and all that. Right? So wo slide jo hai, kafi हिम्मत लगी थी नंबर डालने के लिए, राइट. आई वुडंट से वी स्टार्टेड विद दैट ग्रैंड विजन एटसेट्रा, राइट. वो स्टार्ट हुआ था, अभी नौकरी छोड़ी थी, एंड वी डिडंट नो सैलरी अब आ नहीं रही है, घर कैसे चलेगा, राइट. व्हाट विल हैपन, व्हाट इफ दिस फेल्स, राइट. एब्सोल्यूट ह्यूमन फीलिंग. सो आई थिंक द नेक्स्ट step wasn't how to become $1 billion company. Next step was boss sale shuru ho, right? किसी तरह कुछ तो बिके, right? sort of starts coming in? Can we get to that 10 lakh a month revenue, which will give us and our family assurance ki boss band nahi hoga shayad, right? And then can we sort of, raise a small round, which can get that seal of external, validation that these guys are not drinking their own Kool-Aid, right? Other people are happy to invest in them, right? I think it is far more about those small milestones that you set for yourself early on in your journey. That slide we probably wouldn't have even looked at till we turned 7 and we pulled out that deck and we were like, "Dekhe to sahi kya likha tha," right? And yes, God is kind, and we express gratitude that a lot of it came true, and some of it far earlier than what we had planned. Right? But trust me, right? 2 black labels.
And I think the strategy changed significantly from what was in the deck, by the way. So as you move on, one step at a time, you also see what's firing, what's not firing. Uske hisab se, we were a baby care company getting into furniture and bottles and everything. Turned out to be a very different journey.
Hello, madam. I'm Farooq from Born Babies, and we have a I'm here. Yeah. I'm Farooq from Born Babies, and we have almost 65 retail stores all over South India, all as a COCO model. And I have only one question: what is your success mantra to attract the customers through digital way? Yeah, only one. Yes, simple question.
ज़्यादा है भी नहीं हमारे पास.
Yeah, honestly, I wish I could say there is like this single success mantra and you do that and you'll achieve it. See, as a brand, you need to stand for something, right? That something needs to be a differentiating proposition for your consumer. And the consumer, the way you communicate it to consumer, it needs to land and connect well, sit well with that consumer, saying, okay, this is why we should consider this brand or buy this brand. Right? And the more you do it, the more you learn to become sharper at it. Right? The only advice that we give to our teams even today is don't start your communication journey digitally. Start your, we are all in the business of human communications, right? I mean, like, finally you're trying to convince another human, right, why they should buy your product or service, right? So start your journey like that, right, of designing communication. Sit across the table with your consumer, right? Try to make that same pitch to them, right? See the expressions, right? See how they're absorbing it. See the kind of questions they are sort of asking, right? Basis that, revise your pitch. Make it to another human, right? So first get that confidence in a human-to-human communication, right? And then, take it digital and sort of scale it, and is probably the mantra that I'll give.
Okay, hi. Rohit here. Just wanted to ask one simple question. Like, for us, everybody, I think I'm speaking for everybody, MAMAEARTH has just cracked digital marketing 10 on 10. So you have done a lot of things that have gone very, like the Goodness Inside campaign itself is very, very good. So, like, the times have changed since you started MAMAEARTH till now we are in 2024. Earlier it was a D2C, online first, then came omni-channel, now we are talking about uni-channel. So a lot of things have changed. So for a company that is starting now, the challenges are very different. The challenges are to a level more than what they were 7-8 years ago. So what do you think a company starting now, especially in a very competitive environment, should do right in a digital marketing as a marketing first company with a limited budget of say 50 lakhs to 1 CR? What should they do and what should they not do? Like, even if I give you a simple example, like Ghazal always says that influencer marketing is the best way, but now influencer marketing has been so rampant that everyone is like, थक गए हैं अभी अलग अलग इन्फ्लुएंसर के रोज नए नए रिकमेंडेशन सुन के. So what is your mantra if you were starting today in a similar space? What do you think today's entrepreneur should do?
Very interesting question. हम लोग आज भी we're sort of not there, because with our younger brands, we are exactly in the space that you're talking about, right? With our new brand launch stage, this is happening to us as well while it's happening to you. You're absolutely right. So I think 8 to 10 years back, the market was not as cluttered as it is today. The competition was far less, especially within the D2C space. Now the competition has gone way up. Still, I feel even today, one thing that stays the same, back then and today, is how strong is your product? How strong is your communication? Are you able to land the message to the consumer in a lingo which they want to hear, which they understand, rather than coming from a manufacturer's speak? Because sometimes when we are building a company or a brand, we bring in very technical terms into the brand messaging, which consumers might not be able to relate to. So even today, for example, with Stays, we launched a product within the lipstick category, which is a 3-in-1 lipsticks, a product that has never been done before, 3 shades in one lipstick. That itself becomes a differentiation, and even in a cluttered market of, let's say, influencers or color cosmetics, your product shouts out for attention, saying, hey, I'm talking about something that you would have never heard before. One, that grasps the consumer's interest. Second, again, communication. What is it that consumers need? So for us in color cosmetics, we understood that consumers need products that stay, which are long lasting, 8 to 10 years of stay. Especially for the women who are working, they don't want to do touch-ups while they are at work. So we ensure that we are delivering to that promise for our consumers. And again, once your product has been able to take that attention and they are willing to try it, they should be in a position to repeat. That becomes your second success factor, to be able to do better than some of the other companies. Other than that, I would say digital funnels, again, continue to be strong. Yes, costs have increased, but it's a great way to attract your early adopters. It's a great way to understand who's your target audience, because when we think about the brand versus when we launch the brand, sometimes we are also surprised by how different the consumer set looks, be it the age difference, be it the cohort, etc. Right? Keep yourself open to some of those surprises coming your way, and changing your strategy, keeping that in mind. I've seen a lot of people become so rigid to the idea that they had in mind that they want consumers to behave differently. That's the worst thing to do. You have to be a brand that is able to talk to the set that's being attracted to you, rather than saying, this was in my head and I just want to deliver to this set. I think that's the third factor that I would say is very, very important on building a right brand.
Yeah, one last question. Hi, Dhruv this side. It's lovely to see you both here today. So I wanted to ask, you guys invest in a lot of brands and startups. So what is the criteria you look for? Is it the industry? Do you bet on the founders or the idea?
Right. Yeah, to be honest, team TAM traction. So, I mean, those are the 3 things that we usually look at, right? First is the founder and the team, right? And how, in that specific space, if there are 4 or 5 companies operating, right, how they are probably the best place to win, right? As a set of and group of people, right? How large is the opportunity that they're chasing, right? The larger the better, right? And traction, which is, we usually would never invest in absolute idea stage, because as a company and as a set of founders, we genuinely and very strongly believe that execution beats ideas, right? 6 times a week and twice on a Sunday, right? So very strongly we feel that, ideas have very limited, value compared to the value of execution, right? So traction and how you have executed in the past, right? And what are the markers of the business which are clearly telling that, this business will actually become much larger because of how the early signs of execution are. I think those 3 are the way we evaluate.
Thank you.
Please.
Okay, with the humble D2C startup, like when you started way back, I just wanted to know, like there had been several challenges which might have came across. So now we are running a D2C brand for close to 1.5 years, and one of the major challenge that we see is an RTU. So did you had something similar to that, and how did you utilize technology to cope up with that, or some suggestions over that?
So, I mean, yeah, hundreds of challenges will come. RTO is one of them. And I think in our case, when we looked at data, we clearly saw that all our RTO, 95% of the RTO contribution was from COD orders, right? And hence we clearly realized that reducing COD can reduce RTO. We also did a P&L analysis, right, of what is the net percentage difference in prepaid versus COD P&L, right? Because COD P&L not only has a COD charge, right, but there is also the impact of RTO where you pay incremental logistics, right? So we saw that difference, right, and we said, what if we were to pass this difference on to the consumer, right, in form of a prepaid discount, right? That if you pay prepaid, right, we are willing to pass it on because any which way is wahi P&L aana hai, right? And we were able to skew significantly towards prepaid, and that solved our RTO issues. So I think that's how we did it.
Hi Ghazal, hi Varun. This is Neha, and I have a skincare brand. That's Neha, the one in pink. She's my best friend and also my co-founder. We have a skincare brand called Serene Skincare. You know that a lot of brands are coming out nowadays. Every week there's a new brand. The barrier to entry is very low now. So everyone's starting their own brand. Everyone's getting into skincare, makeup. So as it's getting easier to start a brand, it's getting that much more difficult to build and sustain the brand. So what would you suggest us to focus on, especially as new entrepreneurs? What would you suggest us to focus on? What are the key areas you would ask us to keep our focus on to make sure we stand out among our competitors?
I'd say there's just one area to focus on, that's your consumer. They will help you and guide you to build your brand. This part, which is understanding the consumers, talking to them, taking feedback, understanding why are they buying into your proposition, what attracted them, how was their post-use journey, because a lot of brands stop at selling to the consumer. Nobody takes on the post-use journey. Did they like the product? Did they not like the product? What worked? Will they come back to buy the brand? Will they recommend it to others? So many questions get answered to build that brand journey. That itself will become your differentiating factor, which a lot of other, like you said, barrier to entry is low, but it's just the entry, right? There's a long way to go to execute, to scale, and that cannot happen if you don't have a deep understanding of who your consumer is and why are they buying into your brand. So that's one. Second, I would say, don't worry about the competition. Don't worry about who's entering, who's not. Focus on your own journey. We end up spending a lot of time, which is not useful time, on just understanding what are others doing. If we spend that same time building our own selves up and understanding some of these core things about our own business, the fruits that we reap will be far better than analyzing the market around us.
Would you say funding is required to grow, especially in this competitive market?
Hi Varun, hi Ghazal. I'm Ashwin, co-founder and CEO of CustomFit.ai. We're into the no-code A/B testing and personalization space. Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. Sorry, this is Ashwin, co-founder and CEO of CustomFit.ai. We're into the no-code personalization space. I'm glad to tell you that, okay, your team is also able to try out our platform. So here is the one question I have. When you guys started MAMAEARTH thing, right? So what is that one thing which you thought about the product name, the trust factor building, right? And also there is the inner voice of the founder, right? As you guys know that, whatever with the strong face you try to put in front of your investors, co-founders, or even your employees and all, right? There is an inner feeling, right? Okay, yeah, chal raha hai, nahi chal raha hai. What is that thing, right? What I feel and I tell my co-founder is the moment you feel that everything is going right? That inner voice, inner self starts telling you that, yeah, ab chal raha hai, thing, right? That's what we call product market fit, at least according to me. When you see, there is a sense from the lot of angles, right? I want to let you know, understand from you guys, ab kya chal raha hai, right? And what it was, inner voice was telling you that space.
मुझे समझ नहीं आया.
like
I'm
two
sorry.
things. Yeah, no. Basically, I want to understand from your guys, like as a founder, right? So there is always inner voice which tells you that, okay, what's going on, whatever the strong face you try to put in front of your founders,
Yeah.
investors, and all, right? आपको एक अंदर की एक आवाज रहती है, नहीं यार कुछ तो गलत चल रहा है, कुछ तो ये हो रहा है, right? What is the happening, right? So as a founder, thing that also evolves over the time, right? So I want to understand your journey में क्या
Okay.
क्या
Has it evolved or not
Yeah,
today?
correct.
Right? No, I think we there is an inner storm, right, which probably every founder has, and that's where your driving energy also comes from, right? And I think for us that storm is still very much alive, right? And that storm is always about, am I doing enough? And, am I sort of, hiring right, launching right, working right? And, am I missing something? And, if everything is right, and, there has to be something wrong, right? if there is, something which is going wrong, then I have to solve it like today, right? So I think that's a part of really a founder's DNA, right? And I don't think that changes, right? So I think for us that continues to be very much alive even today, right? While we might be talking and looking absolutely stable to you right now, right? But just an hour back, we might have been doing a crazy conversation saying, shit, how did we get missed? How did this get missed, etc. Right? So I think it probably, and we genuinely hope it never goes away, right? It is that force which gives you energy, and it is probably that force which differentiates us from larger corporations which might not have the founder energy. Thank you.
Hey.
One,
Hey, what?
I know we cannot take more questions. I'm so sorry. No, please. So
just
I'll
one-
have to wind up
one-
the
one
session
last-
because I've been told about the time complex here. So, but one last sort of suggestion you want to give to do D2C plans, coming straight from the heart kind of thing. कि ये कर लो.
Build kar lo. Scale kar lo. No, I would just say that a lot of times I feel entrepreneurs are either on the edge of it, where they're not sure if they should take that first step or the second step. They're still at the deciding factor. There, the only way to know is by getting into it. And once you get into it, be open to changing yourself. Be open to your personal growth, your company's growth. Sometimes businesses outgrow our personal growth as well, right? Ensure that while you're building the company, you're also ensuring that you're upskilling yourself to be relevant to that scale of the business that you want the business to go to. That's very, very important. And other than that, don't worry about the problems that come your way. Don't worry about the insecurities that you have in your heart. Insecurities are good. The more doubts you have, you'll be able to solve and overcome them even better because you'll have that hunger, that drive to figure everything else out. One step at a time, keep figuring one problem at a time, and keep moving forward. That's what we do till today.